This is the Schrade Extreme Survival Fixed Blade SCHF36, and I want to show off my mods. The knife came with black rubber TPE scales, which are really nice, but I wanted to change just a few things about them, and I'll talk about my mods. These scales are G10, and the jimping on the knife is quite aggressive in this area and in this area. And rather than grind down the knife, I decided to modify the G10 scales to mitigate the jimping. So the scales overlap the steel just a little bit in this area, making it a little bit more smooth, especially when you're chopping and gripping. I left the jimping exposed just a little bit right here, just enough to be able to get a reference of where the jimping is when you're using the knife, and be able to take advantage of that jimping. Another mod that I did to the scales was added the fire drill hole indents for fire drill on both sides. I ground down the blade near the finger choil, and I don't know if this shows up very well, but I tried to make it a little bit axe-like, so when I'm batoning, you don't have this big flat surface, and it gives you just a little bit of extra blade for when you're batoning and chopping through wood. It seems to work pretty good. I've tried it, I've worked with it a little bit, and it doesn't bind up, and it seems to pop the wood open a little bit easier. I took the coating off here so that I could use my ferro rod for striking sparks. I put this knife through quite a bit. I hammered away at it for about 30 minutes solid, chopping, batoning perpendicular through sticks about that big around, up to about like that big around, and it did very well. Never chipped, hardly dulls at all. The heat treatment on this knife is done very well. I did put it through a vise test. I put it in the vise and bent it, and it sprung back very well. It's tough steel. My lanyard has two purposes. I can put it around my wrist like that, or I have an extra knot here for when I want to run it like that, and if it comes out, it swings away from you. That's about it. I decided to go with the bright orange, so if you drop it, it's easy to find. I have another knife. This is the SCHF37. I did the same thing with this knife that I did with my 36. I ground it down near the choil, increased the surface area of the scales. The G10 works really well. It doesn't create hot spots so far. I haven't used it a ton for chopping, but a little bit. And yeah, these are good knives. The blades can be a little bit crooked, but for the price you pay, that's, I guess, kind of to be expected. Other than that, I think it's a great value for the dollar. And I will I'll create more videos later to talk maybe a little bit more about these knives, or maybe do some demos with them. I'm probably gonna eventually take most, if not all, of the black coating off. It doesn't really bother me like some people I've seen on YouTube. They can't stand the stuff and they've got to get rid of it immediately. For me, it's just a little added protection that I don't have to worry about it rusting for a little bit longer, but it is kind of ugly, I will admit. Anyway, I think that's all I'll do for today. Two really nice knives for a very good price. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these knives, and I really like my mods.